Zaccaria just dropped a bunch of new retro pinball tables. So let's take a trip back to those post-war glory days, before coins were comprised completely of fecal matter. Future World is one of the few old-timers that has half a chance of keeping it up for more than a minute. It's one of those tables you can really jerk around, and the right outlane in particular is forgiving if you've got the finesse, so any premature drainage should be remediated. Cradling the ball is something that still happens, and the targets are actually aligned with all three flippers. It's like they took elements from the future that provide flowetry and applied them to the past. Winter Sports tells the story of an Olympic skier who carries several flags and struggles with national identity. They substituted outlanes for bumpers and put one smack dab in the middle to increase the chaos. This separates the flippers and opens up some new geometry, including the left orbit leading to the upper crust, where getting stranded feels strangely satisfying. Nudging the bumper to stay in play feels fresh and exciting, and begs the question, was this really the fashion choice for the 50s? You know something's wrong when your pool champion is playing 8-ball with missing pockets. Most of the action takes place on the lower playfield, as there's no reliable way back up, except through clever use of the launch lane and some quantum entanglement. This leads to punching around for cradles and quick ball drains. Not to mention there's no connection to pool, which is arguably the easiest theme to build around. At least it's a great example of mistakes to avoid and missed opportunities. Stars Phoenix is about two blind guys who can't figure out how the bonus lights are activated. Completing all the upper bumpers and rollovers counts for 2, which happens naturally, while the flashing left drop targets and right spot bank lights up 2 more. The final and most difficult set is on the left, so focus on those and ignore the middle. This is the first retro table I was hellbent on completing, so I guess the layout is pretty good. Or perhaps the lights resetting on ball drain padded my playtime. Strike takes the bold move of allowing the dev team to drink White Russians while choosing where to place the flippers. It's got your typical target practice, and none of it is even remotely related to bowling. Completing all the bonus lamps results in a measly 1,000 points, so everyone goes home a loser. I really dig the new retro tables, and I appreciate them taking chances with different geometry, but they could have spared some more time on tying the table together. Remember when you asked the AI to generate pairs, and it drew little butt cracks on them? The idea behind Lucky Fruit is to nail all the targets given the limited certainty of controlling the ball. I recommend starting with a soft plunge so you hit the first bumper, since you're probably not going to get another chance, and it's key to activating the 5,000. This is one of those tables that would have benefited from a return lane or right orbit, but at least it stays true to the theme, where the house always wins. Moonflight begins with a failed launch followed by fake footage of a lunar landing. It's got a fast orbit, and the ball is easy to keep up and cradle. Almost too easy. There's something suspiciously absent from the playfield, but the rule set is pretty welcoming, allowing you to stack target banks for incremental bonuses. Keep your eye on this because it's one of the few tables where you can easily predict where the ball will land and might score some points with the non-believers. Sinar had me cradling my balls in positions I never thought were possible. The rules are similar to Moonflight in that you aim for target banks to stack bonuses on the meat thermometer. It's just the geometry and extra flippers that open up new angles and create enough chaos to keep things interesting. It's also one of the easiest retro tables to keep your balls up and maintain a hard-on, so expect some high scores when it's your time to shine. Wood's Queen has trouble seeing the forest for the trees. It begins with a skill shot through a random rollover that you can't see until after launching the ball. Then you're sucked into the hexagonal upper playfields, where you sporadically jerk around the ball until your fingers ache and sink to the bottom. It's not impossible to get it back up when it goes flaccid, but the game would have benefited tremendously from keeping the bonus lamps lit after each ball loss. Red Show is another one of those tables where you're not going to score too much unless you're going for the main squeeze of nailing all the targets to activate super bumpers. It's often bottlenecked by the upper left rollover, but at least the bonus lamps stay on after ball loss, which should have been the case for most tables. The sinkhole sucks, so prep a nudge for ball drain, and I wish I could cycle rollovers with the flippers, but I guess that would be considered too futuristic. Tropical is my favorite table that is strictly an adjective. It defies the rules of grammar and order of operation by making the lower playfield rely on batting the ball back to the top, since you can't cradle. The upper area feels like swinging through the treetops, which they should have added to the artwork instead of the weird wooden paneling and angular mosaics. But if your focus is on gameplay rather than aesthetics, this is one of the better retro tables you can sink into. Granada is definitely one of the most pinball tables. It's clear they began running out of ideas for the rules of retro, and I'm pretty sure they forgot to include bumpers in the initial design, so they just stuck them somewhere they haven't tried yet. I don't know who these two characters are or what they're peeking at, but it gives me the creeps. At least it's a great example of how to make a pinball machine under a tight budget. Just when you thought Zaccaria didn't have any cards left, they throw in Top Hand. It appears to have been designed by someone who doesn't like it when you grab their balls. It's a pretty radical table that relies on bumpers beneath the lower flippers, which almost act like kickbacks. The top of the playfield also contains chaos, as you'll need to focus on quick reflexes than controlled shots. Too bad it isn't that easy to get back to the top, so you'll mostly be playing bottom foot. So that does it for all the new retro tables. They also added more deluxe editions, and maybe I'll pop back and give some hot takes if I get a free minute. In the meantime, go listen to the new record by Jah Sweet on Spotify, or wherever music is streaming.
Give an answer, we pick on, they don't want to come.